Check out the flutes too. He's got some drones over there.
Sound amazing.
Yeah, we thought our day was already.
I just like died and came into like.
Was this up from a fire?
No, actually, all this is used for torch.
Go by Sue's, and this project is called Ujima. We're like a community-oriented art and music inspiration education station. I have lived here since 2004, so I'm coming up on a 20th year anniversary, which is kind of fun to be doing this tour actually at a time where it's been literally 20 years. I moved to Portland in 2004 and moved right here at this very house. I was blessed to be able to find this place, which was originally for rent when I moved here, and through like community building and visioning over the course of 6 years, I was able to purchase this property and transform the property with my community into a really magical, vibrant community healing space. And so it's really my pleasure to welcome all of you here. Again, from the BBC perspective, I can like look around the whole area and just see so many things. I mean, I'd be here for a really long time if I was like, we planted this tree, we planted that shrub, we did this gray water system, we did, you know, there's so many projects that we've been blessed to be a part of through the BBC community for over the years. But it'd be fun to like talk a little bit about like the vision in terms of being an urban center for ecology and art and community, and like really wanting to inspire people, community and neighbors with the like possibility of like a different way of life. And one of the things that's really struck me lately is just how our whole neighborhood has been developed, which I'm not completely against urban development, but you know, the idea of like, what if we didn't cut down all the trees, but what if we built a tree house and had little tiny homes instead, and just modeling that for our neighborhood. I hear from a lot of people that come here where they walk in, they feel like they're in a totally different world. They feel like they're not in the city. And like just bringing that healing intention into the space where we live so that people can have that experience of walking in and feeling a sense of peace and calm and healing, but also creativity and inspiration is like a big part of our vision. So that's also organically evolved throughout the years. Again, like 20 years, I've been like very rooted here, and I've been blessed with that. It's been a real gift to be able to hold space in that way. And people are always like asking me, did you build this? Did you build that? And I'm like, well, I had my hands on that, but you know, so-and-so and this and that. And like these people, there was just so many hands, so many different hands, so many different dreams, visionaries, so many different skill sets. You know, like, you know, Mark here, for example, when we get to the part, we might peek in the house, and I just remember I was like asking Mark, we were like gonna tear the house apart and transform it, and he's like, oh, you should definitely take the ceiling, you know, you don't need that ceiling, take the ceiling out. We're like, wait, what? Stuff like that, you know, just so many different ideas have been like a part of this and the evolution of this place. So I think that's part of the spirit of BBC as well, is that like community and having it be like a place where all our different dreams can come true together. So anyway, that being said, I'd like to just walk in, we'll do a little like history. That's fine.
Yep.
So I think it makes sense as like a first stop on the tour. Maybe we just do our tour in terms of like looking at the you know, whatever structure is first, which I think the treehouse is a really wonderful place to start. So we built this treehouse in 2012 as a BBC project with a really wonderful visionary builder named SunRay Kelly. SunRay Kelly he grew up on land in northern Washington and Cedar-Woolley, which is like kind of between Bellingham and Seattle, like east of I-5, and his family bought the land that he grew up on, and they were loggers, like his ancestors logged that land. And so he, being a man of the woods and the trees, like he really wanted to heal the land, and so I think it's a really powerful thing that he dedicated his life towards like creating work that is like in harmony with nature rather than going against nature, by creating work that really is inspired by nature. For example, just a quick story about him building this tree house is just like, you know, we had a general plan, right? But he got out here and he was like, he talked to the trees and asking them what they thought, you know, and just like really also like trimming some of the branches of these trees to make space for the tree house and incorporating them into the different elements of structure in the treehouse itself, and also just playing. You know, he's a very playful spirit, really, really magical, sweet, playful spirit. And you know, we became really great friends during that time. And BBC kind of, that community building event really facilitated that, because he was excited about coming through a mutual friend in the natural building community. SunRay got excited to come. He's like, oh, I'll build a tree house at this place. It's someone I've never met, and he like literally came down here and built this thing and started NBC. We had so many volunteers every day. We probably had like 40 people for like 10 days. It was like a kind of a madhouse. It was amazing, really magical and beautiful. And, it still is such a unique space. Like we love to like have events like that, invite people to come and sit and enjoy the treehouse, enjoy the space, enjoy the perspective that you get from being
And he said, hey, and I
amazing. And I guess while we're here,
What happened?
they're behind me right there. There's two rings actually. Sorry guys, I was doing a little vending over there. I sized a ring for the fella. Anyways, I just wanted to say like how grateful I am to the whole BBC community as well as SunRay for this amazing gift. This treehouse is a gift, and it is, I feel like, given to the whole neighborhood because it's such an inspiration for everybody that comes by. And I feel like, again, to me, it inspires that idea that another world is possible. Like we can build a world that is more attuned to nature. We can build a world that is more whimsical and magical, and speaking to that like child part of ourselves. So good to see you, Doug.
see you. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say I'm gonna continue to walk around and talk about more of the structures. Anyone have any questions about the treehouse?
The different structures.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about that. But the treehouse, does anyone have a treehouse question or specifically?
Permanent, like what happened with the at the town?
So it's built in a way it's actually pretty amazing, where there's like these almost foot-long lag bolts there's 4 lag bolts that are piercing the tree. So what SunRay explained it as actually like a piercing, literally, so that the tree can heal around it. And then those chains, those are rated for tons and tons. They're for logging equipment. And so those are like allows the trees to grow and to also the wind to blow. So it's a really, really amazing design. That post there is really not structural. It's just kind of a stabilizing post, but it does move. You know, when the wind's really blowing, it moves a little bit, and like that's part of the design. It's also designed so that the tree can grow around. Naga gets really excited when she sees her friends. She'll start freaking out. So our friends so yeah, that's looking about the treehouse. So the other structures are actually they're not necessarily just BBC projects, but BBC adjacent. That structure was built by a friend, Scott Howard, who used to be really involved as a natural builder here in Portland. I think he moved out to the place, but he was very, very much part of our BBC natural building scene. And he's like, I want to build a tiny house. And he's like, so that's another thing about this property too, is that he wanted to build a tiny house. It's like, do you think I could build one at your house? And it was kind of like, sure. This house has always been like kind of a laboratory kind of for people, all types of creative people and friends that want to come and just try things out and just like experiment with different stuff. You know, I would say a laboratory is a great word.
Whatever.
Anyways, keep going and walking through. This is the wellness. This is my acupuncture. I'm an acupuncturist. That's what I call my day job. And this is also built by SunRay. SunRay was one of the last buildings he built, actually. We had like tiny home type trailer. it's not a BBC project, but it's a tiny home trailer that you built, and it's a wellness. You've got a composting toilet inside. This is where I do my massage therapy and body work. And what I love about it is I feel like the space itself is healing. So when people come back here, they walk into like a healing field already in this property, and then they walk through here, and it's like a very intentional and beautiful healing space. I definitely, maybe after the tour, I would like encourage you guys to like explore the space. You know, walk in. You can check out the triage. You can walk in there and just at your own leisure, feel free to. But yeah, this is a very magical and special structure as well. And keep walking through. So this, our first BBC project was our cob oven. That's a classic starter move for anyone who has property or that are doing, you know, starting out with natural building and BBC projects. So if you walk this way a little more, this is our pizza oven. We actually tried to do the math, but we've made like literally multiple thousands of pizzas in this thing over the course of, we built it in 2011, and we, you know, on average we'll have one pizza party every 6 weeks. So if you average, you know, it's like, I don't know, 7 to 10 a year, and then times, like sometimes we'll make 20 to 30 pizzas in one go. You know, so like we did some math and we came up with about like 2,000 or maybe a little more pizzas. But we haven't actually kept track, but it's kind of fun to think about because we really love this oven so much we use it. And it's also like any type of oven, it's like really been a center of our community. We've had, I really highly recommend everybody to build a wood burning oven in their backyard because it's such a wonderful way to get together, enjoy food. Also like cooking with fire, that's a really, really powerful practice. And so, yeah, like this oven has seen so much action. We built it as a snail, as you can see. It's got a lot of wear and tear on it, but it's still making the most delicious pizzas in Portland, for sure. I'll just say that right now. We're very passionate about pizza, and it's also such a beautiful model to be able to like, we make our own dough in-house and our sauce in-house, and then people just bring all the toppings, and it's just such a fun, creative way for everybody to like be involved and like participate and share. So that's great. So that was our first BBC project. We also did this cob bench, and then we have this like structure here. This was an existing, pretty much, I hate to say this, when I bought this house, this was a storage shed that was like closed off, and it was like rat infested and moldy. It was bad. And it was totally overgrown with ivy, which we've actually kind of kept. At first we were kind of like, maybe we should paint that over, but it's kind of like telling the story. You know, there's this kind of like storytelling with the ivy there because this entire building and the cedar tree were choked with ivy. You know, we worked so hard for so many years to kind of like bring all of it back. So anyway, that was another project. We did light straw clay insulation in this building. We can try to peek in a little bit. Again, with a big group, it's a little hard. It's small space, but I highly recommend. That building also has a rocket stove. It has a heated rocket mass heater bed, which is super cozy in there. I lived in that room for many years, and the hardest thing is when you get a fire going in the winter and you want to get up in the morning, it's actually very hard because your bed is like heated. You're just like,
Stay in bed all day.
Yeah, it's hard. But it's so cozy and so sweet. So yeah, so that was, the rocket stove was not a BBC project, and to be honest, I will just say, like, I've heard mixed results of people trying to do a project like a rocket stove for BBC because it's a little bit more technical. And I think that where BBC really shines is where like everybody can really get involved in like a creative, like mixing cob and like painting or just like fun things. But like when it comes to being like technical, it's like a little bit hard when you have a lot of volunteers. Some people have more experience, some people have less experience. So I just, you know, as someone who's a veteran of BBC, I always think like rocket stoves, maybe not so much, but like ovens, yes, like
it by yourself?
We had a workshop,
oh, you
so it's kind of like a smaller,
okay,
more intentional, like, you know, just like people, and we had some friends who came and helped us build it, and we'll see, like when we go through here, we have actually two, we have another rocket stove, so. And then back here, just to show you guys, we have this wonderful, this is our annual vegetables and greenhouse, and we have fruit trees, this whole wall, this whole, we've got you know, persimmons, plums, pears, figs. That was like the first thing. That's like the first step when you, you know, at least from the permaculture perspective, right? Plant your fruit trees. That's the first thing. That's the first thing we did. We planted fruit trees. I'm gonna turn around and we're gonna kind of mosey through here, and we're gonna.
Oh wow.
You could put it in my pocket.
Like a
maybe.
pollen.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was like. Also, behind us too, in that space, we pretty much had, this was an existing garage that we wanted to make into like a, you know, lightly insulated. This is like our music room. This is where we have our house shows in the winter time. It's also kind of like where we practice. We've got our piano, we like play music in here, also like arts and crafts and stuff like that. So that's the purpose of this space. It's a really fun, sweet space. And again, this was a garage door. Someday this door will not be here. We'll have it built out properly, but you know, like everything, and this is another thing I would say from a BBC perspective, it's just like, it's kind of like a permaculture principle about like growth by chunking. Like you start with like one little thing, right? And then you just get that, and then like the next thing and the next thing, and you can't always do everything that you want to do at once, of course. So like, you know, again, this is like on the list, you know, like I can picture this as a proper wall, but it's just not quite there yet.
Kind of fun. It's different.
Over it. I'm over it.
20 years maybe. Yeah.
No, it's
Can
cool,
it
it's
open?
fine.
That's cool.
No, it actually doesn't. I don't know. It's
Too much over
yeah.
there.
It's also, you know, to be honest, one of the things that has been a challenge for us as musicians and artists is like finding harmony with some of our neighbors who have a different lifestyle. I totally respect their lifestyle. They want to be to bed early, like every night, and like we're like acoustic musicians, so sometimes like probably once every 6 weeks when we have a pizza party, we'll have people playing music, and sometimes it bothers them, and so I would love to like have everything a little more insulated, so we weren't, you know, because we bring the music indoors after 10, but still, you know, like, you know, the neighbors are very close. Anyways, that's that's part of being a community place, right? It's like we all have to learn how to get along and like live our different lifestyles, and that's, as an advocate for the arts and for music, I feel very strongly that it would be really nice if there was kind of an allowance or tolerance for like occasional music playing past 10 p.m. because it's like this vital, I feel like it's a really vital cultural place. I don't really want to live in a place where I can't play music at night sometimes. Like I just really feel like it's adding something, and it's interesting because a lot of our neighbors will actually tell us that they hear us playing music and they love it. Like actually that's by far and away most of them. They'll be like, or they'll just wander over if we're having a music night, and they'll be like, oh, we heard the music, we're coming and we're gonna enjoy, because the people here, we're all like professional working musicians. So I mean, like, not that that's even more valid, but in a way, like it's a life for us too. So like it's wonderful to have that. It feels like a gift to a lot of our community, and then there are always like one or two people that are just like, I'm trying to sleep. I'm like, it's like, well, I also respect that too. You know, I just feel like we have to. I would like them to also respect the music. Like that's where I'm like, you know, like let's find a way to make us all work together. So that's like the vision, and that's the struggle, and you know, it's a process like everything else.
Would like soundproofing, is that like something that you're trying to prioritize? Not just changing the garage door.
Well, I mean, I
especially
feel
with,
like the garage door would make a big difference.
Yeah.
I'm sure of that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we have thought about a lot. And like, it is something we really do want. Although I will say, we never like amplify. I mean, we're going to have amplified music. We're doing a full house concert tonight, which is going to start really soon. Hopefully you guys stick around. But we'll have amplified music, but it'll be finished by like 9:30. Like we're not going to like have anything amplified. We don't amplify. We're like acoustic musicians, so it's not like crazy loud.
And they still have issues.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. No, I know.
Okay.
Anyways, we're gonna redirect here, and this says no shoe zone, but we'll just step. We're not gonna go all the way in, but I'll just give you guys a quick. And yeah, this whole middle piece was also BBC. We did the whole. I mean, the framing and everything else wasn't, but we did the light straw clay and the bottles and all of that as part of it. I'll step up here.
That's okay.
Kind of a 1920s Portland hit-built, house that we remodeled into what a lot of people feel like. They're like, oh, I feel like I'm on Bainbridge Island or something. They always say that, like, it's just got a really different atmosphere in here that really suits our lifestyle and aesthetic. We have a lot of this is reclaimed lumber, like from the rebuilding center, or even the ceiling. We used like cedar fence boards that we got for free on Craigslist, and we ran them through like a planer and sanded everything. So there's a lot of labor of love in this space. In that way, a lot of like locally sourced materials and reclaimed wood, as well as like natural plasters. Again, so many different hands. There's like so many hands and so many stories in this whole space. Just like all the rest of the spaces. And again, I feel like that reflects the BBC aesthetic about, community and the power of community, and like really working together and co-creating and dreaming together, and the potential of all the different things that we can accomplish when we do that. So I feel like that's a good place to kind of wrap up the tour. Do you guys have any more questions?
So, go ahead.
The sauna, was that a BBC project?
Oh, the sauna wasn't actually. We didn't talk about it. That's another SunRay project.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, SunRay built the sauna, which is really just such a gift. So I have 3 structures built by SunRay on this property, which is so special. Yeah, the sauna is a wonderful. It is a really wonderful space.
Did you know his obituary was in the New York Times?
I did,
Quite
yeah.
famous,
Mhm. Yeah, he was on like MTV Extreme Cribs and stuff. Like, he was on all types of crazy. Like, he's a really special. I really miss him a lot. But yeah, I guess I didn't mention this hat, but I went to his memorial, and I was actually driving up to Cortez Island in BC. So it was kind of like on the way I stopped by his memorial. On the way back, I got to spend some time on the property with his partner Bonnie, and just really had a couple days of just reflection and like just sat tears. It was just grieving, because he was really like special soul relationship. We were just really close in a really special way, which I'm so grateful for. But I just like felt drawn. She still had a bunch of his stuff around, and I just like put this hat on, and it just fit really well. And Bonnie was like, that's your hat. And I was just like, oh my god, because SunRay wore this a lot. This is like one of his classic, the felt hat. He was such a wizard. He always had hand felted hats that he wore, and because he was a big part of the Tenasket barge repair community, and there's like all these really fun felters and like cool, I don't know, there's just like amazing artisans that are part of that community, and he was one of them. And so anyway, this hat it's cool that I was probably channeling him today. I just decided to wear it, so yeah.
I have a question about the space. So you were saying that Mark suggested you get rid of the ceiling. Was it just square it away, like it was attic space?
Yeah,
or?
it was attic. It was just.
So
it wasn't even. It wasn't even functional attic space. It was just like so many spaces. It just had a bunch of like old nasty installation up there. It was just like not. It was like a waste of space. So yeah, we insulated the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we insulated the ceiling, and then there's a little loft that's like guest space, which is with a ladder that is not beautiful or permanent. We're another thing that we're gonna someday you'll have the right. It's just an ongoing evolution. So yeah, but that was a project for sure. And one thing I do want to speak to in terms of natural materials, we did have to make a decision to work with conventional insulation in the space because of the size of this kitchen. We realized that if we were to go with like light straw clay or straw bale, the kitchen would be like a third of we would lose, like with the R value, we would lose like all this, because this is a tiny house, like the footprint of the house is so, it's like small. So, you know, we wanted to, at first we're like, oh yeah, let's go all natural all the way. And then we had to make that kind of compromise around, so like making it a functional space for like a community space to live in. And we're like, okay, we're gonna go conventional, you know, drywall and all of that, like, you know, evil stuff. And then like when we have this beautiful natural plaster that Julia June did, and incredible, you know.
On top of the drywall?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you can do that.
Right.
So
It's like regular framing and installation and drywall and then plaster.
Yeah, you can do a natural finish, which really does change the energy. It really, having that natural plaster changes the energy so much. And you know, again, that is a different feeling than when you walk out here and it's all the light straw clay insulation. Like, you know, that's different. And then if you go into that little place adjacent to the cob bench and the pizza, there's like that whole place, we also insulated that with the straw clay insulation. It just feels different. It's really lovely. But again, for this space, it was just not really practical to make that decision. So we wrestled with it. We're just like, okay, we're gonna go conventional. But you know, as much as we can, we used all, you know, upcycled and recycled wood. And you know, it's funny too, because some people have an aesthetic, like they really want everything to be uniform and the same. I'm kind of the opposite, where I just like if you look at the tile work, for example, I really enjoyed going to the tile factory and going through picking through their seconds and like just getting, I'm like, oh, I like this color, I like that, and then just making it into, I did all the tile work myself and just really got into like messing around with like picking out all my favorite tiles and then seeing how to lay them out to make them into a pattern, rather than like, I'm gonna buy like, you know, 12 boxes of the exact same tile. And like, that's what most people do, but it's fun to, I feel like, again, more in the spirit of BBC and like reusing and upcycling things to like take like quote unquote waste tiles, which are all really beautiful and amazing, and just be like, I'm gonna make something different out of these. Yeah. So, and it was also much cheaper, although more labor intensive. Like so many of these things that we're doing, right? It's like you're saving so much money on materials, but then laying all these tiles, because they're all different shapes and sizes, so you have to do it a different way. You can't just like calculate it. You have to, I made templates and like cut all the tiles in advance and laid them all out, and but I actually like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you pour the countertop?
What? My housemate Elwood, who also did a lot of the woodwork here, he's kind of around. He's DJing out there now. He did the countertop. He did a lot of the woodwork too. There's a bunch of different carpenters and builders who have been in Elwood's the number one. Aside from SunRay, Elwood's the number one. He did all the really wonderful details on the, like you'll see the drawers and the holes and all of that stuff. And
Do you have a long-term plan so the place remains after you're gone?
I don't, but my vision is to really just to continue to build community and faith, that like if I decided to leave Portland, that like there would be I mean, I am a very faith-based person, and I really am kind of spiritual in my orientation, so I really do believe that like I will eventually connect with the right people who will continue to steward, either, you know, if they wanted to purchase this whole property as is, or, you know, if I could like pass it on to them. So like, I mean, who knows? I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm really into the religious institution, but definitely as a spiritual place, like for sure. Oh, I guess so. Yeah, that's true. That is I didn't think about that.
It doesn't have to be a religion.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I have a lot of faith that, you know, talk about faith-based, right? I have a lot of faith that the right people will come along to help me in collaborating. In fact, that brings to, you know, it brings to my attention that I want to say that the neighbor's property directly to the north of us is also a double lot that he passed away, and it's just kind of like sitting there because he didn't leave a will. He has like a lot of kids, and so anyway, I don't know what's happening with that property, but it is a double lot, which is extremely rare in this neighborhood now, and it's all overgrown. There's like lots of fruit trees, and it's a really beautiful house. And I just keep saying, like, I don't know how, like, we've actually talked to some realtors, and they're just like, well, it's kind of it's in no man's land because he has, probate, and it could be that way for a long time. The only thing that's comforting about that is that I don't see a developer like swooping in immediately to just like bulldoze it and turn it into condo. That's like my worst nightmare. I try not to talk about it too much, but it also does happen a lot, you know, and I just think about how much this place would change if that were to happen. So I want to put it out there, if anyone knows about property stuff. I know that
manifesting like potential.
what would be amazing is
crowdsourcing
if,
to-
well, if, and I mean, I don't even know if it's an option, but I think if there was a cash offer that was made to
Yeah, the
the kids collectively, and I'm like, hey, we have $500,000 cash, like, here you go, and they'll be like, okay, like,
they
I don't
see the
know,
place next door, yeah, the
Yeah.
legacy continue on.
maybe, I don't know, I just, yeah, I thought I'd just mention it.
Ooh,
That's the thing.
that's all manifest.
Yeah. No, I mean, he asked the question, so I mean, that's kind of part of it, right? To just like keep on, keep the village growing and stuff. So, yeah, but it feels like a good place to finish out the tour. But I do encourage everybody to kind of like check stuff out and like check out some of the buildings or come talk to me in person if you have any questions. I think we're going to try to start music pretty soon here, and please stick around for because you're. Yeah, please stick around for music, and then check out the vendors and food and everything else. It's good stuff here, and again, so wonderful. I feel like BBC has a lot to do with the vision of the space and the way it's organically evolved with like so many talented artists, musicians, like builders, visionaries, like all types of folks. I feel very blessed and grateful to the vision of BBC as well as community here in Portland to make it happen. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Woo! All right, thank you. Walk back out. Oh, it's probably the village.
I think you could just reach out to his wife. Maybe I get a phone.
Can I say I'm friends with Black Lakeman?
Yeah. Or I could just set it up for you.
If that's possible, I mean, that would be incredible. And I'm gonna come to the natural building there at your house.
Yeah.
So I'll see you then too.
This thing. These things fascinate me.
The indoor heater.
This is a heater made out of mud and trash, and it's the most efficient way to heat a space with wood.
Piping goes through,
That's
right?
right. And when it comes out, it's not even smoke. It's 100 degrees steam. And you can cook on it.
Yeah, it's clean burn, yeah.
I love these things. And you can make them yourself.
Right.
It is so amazing. It's so inspiring.
Nice. I think I was moving this way. You moved out 14 years ago, very shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moved in.
Thank you. Thank you. I love your coat. Thank you.
It smells good. It smells like wood. Oh shit.
Checking. Strawberry and normal.
Mmm. Raspberry.
Wait, okay.
It's a
So
fairly
this one. Oh wait.
simple set of spices and
Okay.
ingredients, but it always comes together really nicely. So it's been a staple. It's got a great
Sorry,
texture.
I'm gonna hop.
Sweet beauties. So did you say in the back there's
Oh my god.
Thank you.